The galaxy was vast, filled with countless civilizations, alliances and conflicts, but the Korvax system had never faced anything like this. Their worlds were under attack, entire fleets destroyed, colonies burned. And no help was coming. The Void Swarm moved with terrifying speed and brutality. Their ships dark and fast, weapons unlike anything the Korvax had seen. Entire star systems fell in days, and panic spread through the remaining planets. Inside the capital's orbital command station, the council gathered. The room was scarred from recent attacks. Lights flickered, alarms blared, and the smell of burned electronics lingered. The leaders argued over what to do next. Some wanted to surrender, some wanted to flee, others wanted to hide deep in uncharted space. Admiral Theskar, a seasoned officer with scars lining his face, stood at the center. He reported fleet losses and civilian casualties, his voice steady, but his eyes betrayed his fear. "We are losing every day," he said. "Our defenses cannot hold. Evacuation convoys are being destroyed faster than we can organize them." Silence followed his words. The truth was undeniable. The Korvax had no allies left. All other civilizations had rejected them, believing that the Void Swarm was not their problem. Some even whispered that the Korvax had brought this destruction on themselves. Then a young communications officer, Lyra Venn, stepped forward. Her uniform was clean, her hands steady. Her voice calm yet urgent. "There is one choice left," she said. "All other doors are closed. We must send a call to the Deathworlders." A hush fell over the room. Humans, the Deathworlders, were legends of fear and power. Rejected by nearly every empire, exiled to the edges of known space for centuries, their methods ruthless, their survival instincts unmatched. Many believed they were too dangerous to be trusted. A counselor shook his head. "Humans? Are you mad? They will not care for us. They may destroy us instead." Another spoke sharply. "They fight without limits. Their wrath is unmatched. We call them, and we may invite more destruction upon ourselves." Admiral Theskar closed his eyes. He had heard the stories. Humans were unpredictable, lethal, and relentless. But even he could see that there was no other option. "Lyra is right," he said finally. "If we do nothing, our people will be gone. If we call them, there is a chance. A chance at survival." Time was short. The Void Swarm had already reached the outer systems. Planets burned and alarms rang without pause. Evacuation ships streamed from colonies. Many were destroyed before leaving orbit. At last, the High Speaker, the oldest member of the council, rose. His voice was weak, yet carried authority. "Prepare the SOS. Not a demand, not a command. A plea. We ask for aid. We place our hope in the hands of those we once feared." The council agreed. The message was composed carefully, chronicling the destruction of fleets and colonies, admitting fear, admitting failure, and finally, naming the one they prayed would answer: humanity. The SOS was launched. Speeding through uncharted space faster than any Korvax vessel could follow, it slipped past old relay points into the dark void beyond known systems, carrying the desperate hope of an entire civilization. Days passed, no answer arrived. The council began to doubt. The Void Swarm advanced relentlessly, striking planets, burning cities, and destroying evacuation convoys. The Korvax began to despair. Perhaps humans would not respond. Perhaps their plea would vanish into empty space. Far beyond known regions. In the outer darkness, human fleets stirred, ancient warships. Long dormant, powered on, engines ignited, systems awakened. Crew members rushed to stations. Preparations that had waited for decades now came to life. On a massive Terran command ship, an admiral read the Korvax SOS. His face was calm, carved by years of battle. He considered the message carefully. Then finally, he turned to his crew, confirmed the call. Prepare the fleet. We move, deep in the darkness of space. Human ships powered up, engines glowing, weapons ready. The galaxy had no idea what had just awakened, and the Korvax system had no idea what force had just answered their call. Days passed after the Korvax SOS was sent. The council waited, hearts heavy with fear. Every passing hour brought news of destruction. The void swarm advanced without mercy. Fleets shattered, colonies burned. Evacuation convoys destroyed before reaching safety. The Virex Confederation, who had long ignored the Korvax pleas, smirked at their suffering. Certain that humans would not intervene, believing that the exiled Deathworlders would not risk themselves for aliens. Then sensors blared across the system. Unknown ships dropped out of hyperspace in massive numbers. Thousands of vessels filled the void, dark, massive, and terrifying in scale. Korvax officers froze in disbelief. Alien sensors could barely read the energy signatures, weapons power beyond comprehension. The fleet's presence alone shook every commander in the room. A human signal arrived, short and precise. We have received your SOS. We are coming. The council gasped. Humans had answered, not for glory, not for politics, but to fight. The Deathworlders formed an impenetrable wall around the Korvax worlds. Every ship perfectly positioned, every maneuver calculated, no gaps. No hesitation. Void swarm scouts detected the humans. And for the first time, hesitation rippled through the enemy fleet. They had expected weak allies. Disorganized defense, not a disciplined. Overwhelming force ready to strike with precision. The Korvax fleets moved cautiously behind the humans. Shielded from attacks, protected by a wall of steel that none had thought possible. The human admiral remained calm, silent but commanding, watching enemy movements, adjusting his fleet's position without a single wasted maneuver. For the first time, the Korvax realized the truth about humanity. These were not reckless warriors seeking fame, they were survival incarnate. Forged in the deadliest conditions, trained to endure, adapt, and protect. And as the void swarm approached the outer defense lines, the galaxy understood one terrifying fact. The Deathworlders had arrived, and when they did, nothing would stop their fury. The void swarm attacked without warning, their dark ships moving like shadows across the stars, weapons firing with deadly precision, expecting to crush any resistance in moments. Korvax captains panicked, fleets broke formation, convoys scattered, planets trembled under relentless bombardment, and civilians feared the end was near. But the human fleet held its ground. Massive warships formed layered defenses, absorbing attacks meant for weaker vessels, while smaller strike ships darted through enemy lines, targeting critical systems with deadly accuracy. Korvax fleets hid behind human shields, unable to comprehend the tactics they were witnessing. Ships they thought would fall were unharmed, while enemy vessels shattered before them. Every human movement was precise, calculated, and adaptive. They did not panic, they did not retreat, they controlled the battlefield. Strike teams landed on burning worlds, evacuating civilians under fire, deploying shields and barriers, protecting those who could not fight. Admiral Veskar watched from the command station, awe mixed with fear in his eyes. The humans were not just strong, they were unstoppable, able to anticipate the enemy's moves before they were made. The void swarm faltered, confused by the humans' precision and discipline. Their first wave destroyed, ships retreating to regroup. Never before had they encountered such coordinated force. The Korvax began to feel hope. For the first time in weeks, they realized survival was possible. But the human fleet did not celebrate. They did not rest. Every strike was part of a larger plan. every action designed to protect the weak and to weaken the enemy. As the first battle ended, the Void Swarm retreated, broken and disoriented, and the galaxy witnessed the true might of humanity for the first time. The Deathworlders had arrived, and they would not stop until the threat was completely eliminated. The first battles had proven humanity's power, but the war was far from over. The humans analyzed the Void Swarm, tracing their command to a massive living structure known as the Hive Core, a planet-sized organism that controlled every enemy ship. Destroying it would end the war. But the mission was nearly suicidal. Many human ships would not return. The Korvax watched in silence, trembling at the scale of what was about to happen. The human admiral addressed his fleet calmly, "No ship retreats. Every life counts, but the mission is absolute. Prepare for the final assault." The fleet advanced in perfect formation. Heavy warships absorbing incoming fire, smaller strike ships darting through enemy lines. Shields and weapons recalibrated constantly mid-battle. The Hive Core pulsed with dark energy, sending waves of force that tore through space, killing those unprepared. But humans adjusted instantly, shifting formations, redistributing power, repairing damage. Nothing was wasted. Every action counted. Void Swarm defenders surged, attacking with overwhelming numbers. Yet the humans moved as one organism, every strike precise, every movement calculated. Korvax observers began to understand humanity's true nature. They fought not for glory or reward, but because it was in their DNA to survive and to ensure the survival of others. The battle intensified. Explosions lit the void, ships were lost, yet the line never broke. Every human knew the price of their mission, and they accepted it without hesitation. Finally, strike teams reached the Hive Core, engines smoking, hulls scorched, systems failing, yet they pressed on, determined to destroy the enemy at all costs. The Korvax realized something profound. Humans were not reckless warriors. They were survivors forged in the deadliest conditions, unyielding and disciplined, and willing to pay the ultimate price to save the galaxy. The final assault was ready, the Hive Core would fall, and the Deathworlders would ensure that no civilization would suffer as long as they had breath and firepower. The galaxy held its breath, and the humans prepared to strike. The final battle erupted across the void. The Deathworlder fleet moving with precision and fury. Every ship in formation, every crew aware of the stakes. Many would not survive, but retreat was never an option. The Hive Core pulsed violently, its energy waves ripping through space. Void Swarm ships surged to defend it, dark clouds of ships blotting out the stars. Korvax leaders watched helplessly from afar, their fleets scattered and damaged. Civilians trembling in orbit, they had hoped for rescue. But they could only witness the true power of humanity. The human admiral gave the final order: engage. Weapons fired in perfect coordination. Massive warships absorbing the deadliest blows. Strike teams darting through enemy lines, targeting the Hive Core's weak points with deadly efficiency. Explosions lit the darkness. Ship after ship fell, yet the fleet advanced relentlessly. Every crew member understanding the cost and accepting it without hesitation. Finally, a strike group reached the Hive Core itself. Engines failing, hulls scorched, systems damaged beyond repair. Yet they pressed forward. The Admiral commanded, "Detonate." A blinding explosion consumed the Hive Core, shattering the Void Swarm and ending their reign of terror. Silence followed, the threat neutralized, and the galaxy breathed freely for the first time in decades. The Korvax worlds were saved. Civilizations that had teetered on the brink of extinction survived, thanks to the humans who came when no one else would. The Deathworlders did not ask for thanks. They left only one message across the galaxy: When the SOS went out, we came. None were left to threaten the innocent. The Varex Confederation had rejected humanity, but the galaxy would never forget their wrath, their loyalty, and their unmatched power. A monument was later built in deep space, simple and permanent, inscribed with a single truth: the galaxy survives because humanity answered. From that day on, humans were respected, feared, and remembered, and the legend of the Deathworlders' fury and courage spread across every star system. A reminder that when the galaxy called, humanity would always answer.